Okay, the fluids have been checked. We're in the car. Have the keys in the ignition. It's time to fire this podcast up. Okay, you've heard it. The Cordova's been fired up. The 404 barrel former lean burn is ready to head out the storage unit. And we're about ready to fire this podcast up and unite all generations and types of Mopar fans, lovers, and enthusiasts everywhere. From Walter P. Chrysler to today's Mopar and beyond, this is episode number 9 of the WaltPar Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm your host, Scott Gresser, Mopar since 1960, and I am ever so grateful you can join me here on the WaltPar Podcast. My email address, WaltPar Podcast, that's WaltPar Podcast at AOL.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, search WaltPar Podcast, and I'm also now on YouTube and Rumble, search WaltPar. All one word, WaltPar. Well, Dodge Pod's got a new episode out. I've yet to hear it. Chris Albrecht has 2 new podcasts out. They are actually repeats of his premium paid subscription through Facebook podcasts. He's going through the top 10 of his favorite cars. He's got down through number 9 of what his favorite cars of all time are. And I'm looking forward to hear more of those. But those have been the latest podcasts out this time around. Haven't been up to too much. I did go to the Mopar Dustoff in Columbus. I will bring you more of that later on in this podcast. I'm going to do the monologue this time around, totally off the cuff, so I hope I do okay for you. So now, let's get you caught up on the latest news from Stellantis regarding the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram brands worldwide. On episode number 8 of the WaltPar Podcast, Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders reported Jeep was 8th in vehicle sales in the country of Italy for March of 2024. And now Mr. Miller reports Jeep in Brazil experienced huge growth in the first quarter of 2024 as well. Jeep Compass in Brazil continues to be the sales leader of the C-segment SUV category. They sold 11,600 units, which was 33% or almost one-third of the market. In the smaller B-segment SUV category, the Renegade, which is still made and sold in Brazil, sold 10,400 units, which was 8.9% of the market. Now, the Commander, which is basically a Compass stretched to be 3 rows, sold 3,200 units, and that was 14% of the market. All totaled, Jeep does have a 14.1% share of the entire SUV market in Brazil. Now, for 2025 in Brazil, Robert S. Miller reports a 2-liter 4-cylinder Hurricane engine that's used in the Ram Rampage down there will be available, and there will be a new premium trim Blackhawk model added. To read more, go to moparinsiders.com and you can get the full equipment details. Speaking of Brazil, Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders reports, while it hasn't been that long since Ram was introduced in Brazil, its sales figures for the first quarter of 2024 rose 206% from the same period a year ago. Here's the thing I have to say about that. Ram, just a few years ago, just started exporting the larger trucks down to Brazil, and they were just starting to get the business rev back up compared to when to the days they had it to the early 80s to when they sold to Volkswagen. But Stellantis is bringing the brands back, Jeep and Ram. And you got to look at it this way. Like, for instance, you keep hearing all these great sales. Oh, how the EVs are like 75% improved over a year ago and all this, and like they're really hot. But you got to remember, the EV started out with nothing. And so did the Rams. I mean, if I sold one EV that I built, then I built 3 more, that's a 200% increase, 3 units. But yet, that's 200% increase. You have to look at it the same way with Ram in Brazil, but they're still off to a good start. They are a premium truck brand, and they sold all the nice ones down there. There's a picture in the Ram Trucks Brazil website that shows a beautiful showroom. down in Brazil. But yes, it's supposed to be a premium truck brand, but the sales are going up and people are liking them down there, and we're glad to hear for that. Now, on this next report, I'm not sure what to make of this, and I'm not sure if David Zatz of Stellpower knows what to make of this either. Stellantis has cut 9 dealer support centers in the United States down to 6, and will be laying off 30 people to what Stellantis says, and they quote, will strengthen its dealer support network. Okay, I guess we'll see about that. The new order guides for the 2024 Charger are now out. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, reports the guides have details on what's included on the 2 Daytona First Editions and the 3 Scat Pack First Editions. To find out what equipment is included on all 5 of these First Edition models, go to moparinsiders.com to find out. There is a pretty extensive list there. Now, Jonathan Ramsey of Autoblog also wrote an article on this, but he based his information as well from the moparinsiders.com article. David Zatz of Stellpower reports Jeep in the United States will be rolling out a new ad campaign using a hip-hop song from the 1990s called California Love. Marketing chief Olivier Francois says, and I quote, captures the spirit of the Wrangler and our owners around the world in a way no other can. With Chinese automakers wanting to open new manufacturing plants in other countries and sell their vehicles there, Autoblog pulled an article from Reuters where Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares gave a warning. If the government of Italy allows Chinese automakers into the country, it could make for some very unpopular decisions to be made by Stellantis. The thing about the Chinese automakers that I noticed is, especially with BYD, is they're able to sell all these cars. They're all able to sell them cheap, and they're putting them all over the marketplace in Europe and in Mexico. They're planning a plant, and they're selling them cheap. And I'm like thinking, how can they do this? And it still comes back, and I forgot where I heard it, but the Chinese government does subsidize that factory. A lot of businesses in China are actually owned as a part of the government or the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. So you have to watch who you're dealing with when it comes with China. But a lot of that, where they get that support and how they're able to do what they do, is because they're getting money pulled from the Chinese Communist Party and the government there. And that's what's helping support BYD in their efforts in selling EVs throughout the world. Now, an additional 200 Stellantis supplemental workers whose jobs are in a warehouse facility in Detroit will be losing their jobs. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders report. Oh, I wasn't even done with Stellantis yet. Let me finish that up here. But CEO Carlos Tavares gave a warning. If the government of Italy allows Chinese automakers into the country, it could make for some very unpopular decisions to be made by Stellantis. And I'm sure it's not just Italy. It's wherever the Chinese decide to go, it could be the same consequences. Now, an additional 200 Stellantis supplemental workers whose jobs are in a warehouse facility in Detroit will be losing their jobs. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders reports the reason for the layoffs is to streamline operations amidst changing market conditions. Now, Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, also reports the European Jeep Compass and Renegade front-wheel drive models will be equipped with an e-hybrid system based off a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine from the Stellantis Global Small Engine family. Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders reports the Ram 1500 RHO will be premiering April 25th. It will essentially be a Ram 1500 TRX, but instead of the 6.2 Hellcat V8, it will be powered by a twin-turbo Hurricane 6. Now, with layoffs occurring in various parts of the world and suppliers being pressured to cut their costs, Robert S. Miller, Mopar Insiders, and David Zatz of Stellpower report from an article from Automotive News that Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares has received an even heftier compensation package than he did last year. With the critical reports coming from other sources, Mr. Tavares said it was due to bonuses he received for achieving goals that the company has set for him to reach. And on Autoline Daily Podcast, they report as well that the money paid to Mr. Tavares was approved by Stellantis stockholders. Patrick Rawl of Stelpower reports that the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer had its best sales quarter yet in the first quarter of 2024. 13,131 Wagoneers and 3,550 Grand Wagoneers were sold. Now, David Zatz of Stelpower put this into comparison to the rest of the large SUV market for which the Wagoneers are a part of. He did the sales comparison, and he found out that while it would take a lot of work to get close to the dominating large SUV figures from General Motors and the Ford Expedition, for all the longer the Wagoneers have been out, the Wagoneer has sold more units than the Toyota Sequoia, and the Grand Wagoneer has sold more units than the Lexus LX series and the Lincoln Navigator. And speaking of comparisons, the Chrysler minivans, they sold 33,114 units in the first quarter of 2024, which is up from 29,910 minivans sold in the first quarter of 2023. And David Zatz did a comparison on that, and he compared the figures from Kia, Honda, Toyota, and Chrysler, and found out Chrysler is the sales leader of minivans in the United States of America. Once again, Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders has looked over the April 2024 report on the slowest selling vehicles by CarEdge.com. And who's at the top of the crown for that? Selling, I think it was like over 600-day supply, or a lot of days supply, was the Dodge Hornet was at the top of the list again, with a lot of cars on the lots that they're not selling. As reported on episode number 4 of the WaltPar Podcast, Stellantis will not be attending new vehicle shows for 2024, but Stellantis is having a presence in these shows. At the Greater Cleveland Auto Dealers Association New Vehicle Show in Cleveland, which I live near and did attend, the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram dealerships put up their own display. And David Zatz of Stelpower reports that's exactly what else happened in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. The dealerships wanted to make a presence at the Montreal Electric Vehicle Show and took it upon themselves to have vehicles there. And they succeeded. They had lined up, thanks to Stellantis, a Ram 1500 Ram Charger, a Charger Daytona SRT concept electric muscle car, a Fiat 500e, and 4xe versions of the Jeep Wrangler and Jeep Grand Cherokee. Speaking of EVs, as they are slowing down in the sales department, Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders reports Jeep CEO Antonio Filosa may add internal combustion engines along with the originally electric-only powertrains to the KX body Jeep Wagoneer S and the EJ body Jeep Recon. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. Nothing's set in stone, but he's thinking on doing that. We'll see if that happens. They are both good-looking vehicles, though. Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders reports that while the Ram 1500 REV with the standard electric powertrain will debut on time, the optional 500-mile range powertrain will not be out until the 2026 model year. Stellantis Mexico has been having a good model year so far, especially with the small cars. Robert S. Miller Mopar Insiders reports the Ram 700, the Dodge Attitude, the Jeep Compass, and Jeep Renegade, as well as certain Alfa Romeo, Fiat, and Peugeot models have been selling well. Ram 700, Dodge Attitude. Remember, folks, what's sold in the United States does not necessarily mean it's sold throughout the world, that they have the exact same model lineup that we do. It's always been that way for decades and decades and decades, where certain different model numbers and names could be used on the same car that's a different name in the U.S. Also, if I'm not mistaken, they still make a Dodge Journey still in Mexico. It's Chinese built. They have this Dodge Attitude. Last I checked was built by Hyundai. And so they have their own model lineups down there. Plus they have a truck out there called the Ram 4000. They've had that for years as well. But when you go down to when you read these sales figures, they're not much. I mean, there are some where they don't even sell 1,000 of something, but that's the way it is in Mexico. What little figures there are is better than none at all. And finally, in the news, Patrick Rawls, StelPower, Robert S. Miller, and Mopar Insiders report Dodge is coming out with a complete performance vehicle protection package. It's part of the Mopar Vehicle Protection Plan program. Now, please go to their websites at moparinsiders.com and stelpower.com for more information, or at least see what's available. Plus, you can also go, there's information as well at mvpdodgesrt.com. That's Mopar Vehicle Protection, or mvpdodgesrt.com. Now, you can find these stories and more at autoblog.com, moparinsiders.com, stelpower.com, Reuters and autonews.com. But you will need to be a subscriber to view articles on autonews.com. That is the website for automotive news. Okay. I'm here. Your first name?
Chase.
And you are?
Paul.
Paul, and what kind of cars do you have?
Ram 2500.
Okay. Gas, diesel?
Gas.
Gas? Okay. 5.7 or 6.4? I was trying to do interviews when I was at the Mopar Dustoff in Columbus, Ohio. And what you heard was what my Zoom 6 did when it's a windy day. I had these great interviews with people. I will be getting into that in just a few moments here. So I'm trying to find a way to get a windscreen over those microphones so I can do more interviews outside. I had talked with 3 different groups of people about the future of their cars, because they were modern Mopar people. And as you know, the Hemis are leaving, and they had warnings about that. So it wasn't like they were blindsided or broadsided, however you want to put it, with the information that they're no longer available. But I asked them some questions, and they were all very great in answering the questions. One of the things I asked, was what was the news on the Hemi, and they didn't like it. But yet they all seem to know about what it, that technology changes, and they know they have to go with the times. And I asked them, does this alter your plans for wanting to get a new car? Because you read these Facebook posts, and they say, well, I upgraded, I went to this car, I went to that car, traded in my Charger, got this, traded in my Challenger, got that. And it did sort of change their plans, but a lot of them were planning on keeping their cars anyways because of the price of the new cars and everything, regardless if the Hemis were going to be around or not. Sort of helped deter that and appreciate what they have. So they're all planning on keeping their cars. They all love their cars. They appreciate what Dodge is doing regardless. Now, I did ask them as well, do they want electric or gas? And they said there's a need for electric, no doubt about it, just like I said, but they're going to stick with gas. And that's what I said as well. A great gentleman named Dante told me that for right now, when it comes to electrics, the ability to keep them charged when you're out and about in the city of Columbus alone, even when you live there, is a big problem for now. They know they're working on it. He says they are working on the problem, but it is a problem right now, making sure you can keep your cars charged up, or not a problem keeping them charged up, but getting them charged up is a huge problem in Columbus. And like I said, they are working on it, but for right now, it's probably better to wait if you do want an electric car, so you get more charging stations out there to help you out, and also to get your car, get your house or your condo or your apartment available to be adaptable for the kind of charging that your electric vehicle may need. I was at the Dustoff, and if you saw my Facebook, Instagram, X, and Thread accounts, I was really pushing for the Mopar Dustoff in Columbus, Ohio. When you live up, we'll say, north of the Mason-Dixon line, north of Kentucky, north of Virginia and all that, and when you get the snow, You tend to keep your vehicles inside if you want them to last, especially with my 1976 Cordova and my 1971 Dodge Demon 340. They have what I call low-tech metal, which means you cannot take them out in the salt, that melts the ice on the roads. You can't take them out because it could eat into your metal and start getting your car to rust. And I had both those cars restored because of rust. So you learn to keep them in during the winter time, get some things done that you can to it. And I got a lot to do on the Demon 340. But you learn to keep those cars in. Now, the newer cars have better metal, galvanized metal. And a lot of these people for right now are driving their cars year-round, the modern muscle cars, that is. I'm sure as time goes by and they get their finances in order, which does take a lot these days, they would like to store those cars and also drive something else for the wintertime. One of the things about the wintertime up here in Ohio compared to what it used to be, as I was growing up, it was mainly rock salt that was put on the roads, and that was it. It was bad enough. My Cordova started rusting when it was 3 years old, and a lot of cars did back then, back in the day. But that was just with rock salt. Now they use brine water and chemicals and everything else on the road. Now, the brine water, you'll see like stripes on the highway, and that's brine water. And that brine water can get into cracks and crevices and seams in between your body and frame, unlike what rock salt could, because it only goes in so far because the pellets were larger. But this is a liquid. It could soak right in. It has caused damage to brake lines and other vehicles as well. And so that's even more of a deterrent to take your car out. I had the Cordova out once. I got it warmed up, put it back away because there was still too much salt on the roads. Now, there's supposed to be rain here. I'm recording this on April 22nd, 2024. I might be getting it out later in May. I want to head down to Southern Ohio to St. Clairsville to Thomas Fest, and I hope I'll be able to go to that, weather depending. Last year I went down in the rain and everything. I'm not going to do that again. We need another good rainfall to get the salt off the roads, and I hope it will happen because I want to get the Cordova out, and I want to have myself some fun. Now, let's say we go to the event calendar. I sort of rambled off there a little bit, but trust me, folks, this dust-off meant a lot. They had close to 97 cars there, maybe a few more because they kept coming in and out, so it was very hard to keep count. But it was a great event. It was held in Columbus, Ohio, and that was on the 13th. Now, this weekend, the 20th, Miami Valley Mopars, I should say, and the Ohio Mopar Group, they each had their own cruise-ins out there this weekend. Miami Valley was down southwest Ohio. Ohio Mopar Group was in northeast Ohio, but they got their cars out and they took nice cruises. I think there was a restaurant they went to from Miami Valley, and then there was also they went to the Hartville stores to go cruise in there, and then they cruised back. So it was a very nice day for a cruise-in. And it was a beautiful, sunshiny day regardless, and I know everybody else had fun. The Mopar Dustoff was originally in Mansfield, Ohio, because it brought together a halfway point between Northeast Ohio Mopar and Cleveland area, and all modern Mopars of Ohio, or LX, or Central Ohio LX, together from Columbus, Ohio, in one place. Now, Anthony Carter from Ammo has taken it over, and that's why it's been moved to Columbus. But that's fine because it was also a more central place. If people wanted to come up from Marietta, from Steubenville, Weirton, Marietta, Ohio Mopars, also Ohio Valley Mopars and Steubenville, Weirton, they would have been able to come up, as well as Miami Valley if they wanted to come up. So there was all kinds of opportunities for people to come to meet together. And this is the time when we get the cars out, get some cobwebs out of the way, and get to meet some people we haven't seen from all winter. It makes for a great event. I was so glad I went again this year. I have to thank Anthony Carter as well, because I did that interview with him in episode number 8, and he gave me a lot of publicity leading up to this, And like I said, I learned my lesson. I've been doing some testing when it gets windy out with what I can do to shield the wind from the talking, because I had these great interviews and I'm not able to use them because all you're going to hear is a so with that in mind, I just want to show you an example of what was recorded there. It was a shame, but I've learned my lesson, and I apologize to those people who did give me great interviews there at the Dustoff. Thank you so much for that. Let's get into the Mopar calendar. Now, one thing I want to tell you is there were some flyers I had out I didn't even know I had on Instagram. The next time I do the calendar, I will make sure to tell you that I have a copy of the flyer available on my Instagram account, so you can check that out as well. Now let's get started with the calendar here. In Alabama, the great state of Alabama, April 26th and 27th, that's this coming weekend. Mopars at the Battleship, benefiting Children's Hospital in New Orleans, and Mulherron Home in Mobile, Alabama. This will be held at the USS Alabama Battleship Memorial Park in Mobile, Alabama. Hosting club is Big Easy Mopar Association, BigEasyMopar.com. June 7th and 8th in Coleman, Alabama, Cullman. Coleman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram presents Mopars by the Lake at Sportsman Lake Park in Coleman, Alabama. Hosting club is Pentastar South. For more information, call Robert at 256-734-1064 or Brenda 256-590-2949. In Alberta, Canada, billed as Western Canada's largest Mopar show, it's the Western Mopar Madness at RAD Torque Raceway in Leduc County, Alberta, Canada. The show will go on from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. with racing and everything. The hosting club is the Edmonton Mopar Association, EMAWMM.com for more information. And let's go down here to the great state of Arkansas. Let me double check here. Yes, that was March 9th. Okay. In the great state of Arkansas, June 22nd, it's the third annual Turpentine Creek Mopar Classic at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. It will go on from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. tcmoparclassic.com for more information. In the great state of Connecticut, we hope they had a good showing at the 36th Annual All Mopar Show Parts Show and Exchange in Woodley Park in Van Nuys, California. It was put on by Southern California Mopar Club and Chrysler Performance. That show was last weekend. Hope they had a successful one. In Connecticut, May 18th and 19th, the 44th Annual Mopar Expo Show and Swap Meet at Papa's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in New Britain, Connecticut. It will go on from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Hosting club is Mopars in Motion. Contact Ralph 860-416-1228. September 22nd, the 16th Annual Innovators Show and Shine All Mopar Show at Artioli Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Enfield, that's Enfield, Connecticut, going on from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Again, the hosting club, Mopars in Motion. Contact Ralph 860-418-1228. May 10th and 11th, the 37th Annual Sunshine State Mopar Car Show and Swap Meet will be held at the Florida Horse Park at Ocala, Florida. Hosting associations of Florida Mopar Association, FloridaMoparAssociation.com for more information. Here's a new show I just picked up. Chiefland Chrysler Dodge Jeep All Mopar Show will be held in Chiefland, Florida in beautiful Levy County. It will go on from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. The hosting club and co-sponsor is Mopars of Ocala. For more information or to register, you can dial 352-427-8382 to register your vehicle. For further information, like I said, I do have the flyer on my Instagram account. Search WaltPar Podcast. October 1st through the 5th. It's Mopars at the Beach in Daytona Beach, Florida, not Myrtle Beach. Kathy Pearson Bridges moved to Florida from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This event is still in the planning stages, but it looks like she's doing her best to do just as well in Florida as she did in South Carolina. Mopar 2nd and 3rd. Mopars with and I got more information I just received on that. I just have to get that out and get that revised for you. November 2nd and 3rd. Mopars with Big Daddy at Garlis Drag Racing Museum in Ocala, Florida. Phone 352-245-8661 or visit garlits.com. In the great state of Illinois, June 2nd, it's the Mopar Madness 2024 at the Kazi Corner Hot Dogs Beef and Catering, 1250 75th Street, Downers Grove, Illinois. Hosting club will be the Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page, Chicagoland Mopar Club, under events for more contact information. On June 23rd, Mopars at the Park will be held from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. at Fox Lake Veterans Memorial Park, Fox Lake, Illinois. Show vehicle entry fee is $20. Spectator admission is free. Hosting club is the Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Again on Facebook, Chicagoland Mopar Club for more information. And these will all be happening at the Boone County Fairgrounds in Belvedere, Illinois. July 20th, 2024, it's the Midwest Charger Meet 2024. And on the same day, the Mopar Modern Muscle Meet, I'll get it out, 2024, and that's also on the 20th. On the 21st, Belvedere Mopar happening 2024. All these events will be happening from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Boone County Fairgrounds in Belvedere, Illinois. Hosting club, again, is Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page at Chicagoland Mopar Club under events for more contact information on each event. June 14th through the 16th, it's the National Hemi Owners Association Meet and Reunion. Will be held in Brownsburg, Indiana, near Indianapolis, Indiana. Don't have for any further information on that so far. June 22nd, Mopar Max 2024. This is in Iowa. The Mopar Max 2024 Special Mopar Race at Cedar Falls Sports Park, Cedar Falls, Iowa. Flyers on my Instagram account. Search WaltPar Podcast. August 25th, Mopars on the Mississippi 2024 at the Dubuque County Fairgrounds, Dubuque, Iowa. He goes on from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Hosting club will be the Chicagoland Mopar Connection. Go to their Facebook page, Chicagoland Mopar Club, under events for more contact information. Here's another show I just found out of, or I did know about, but did not have it on this page here. I do have it on Instagram. On June 15th, 2024, it's the 39th Annual All Mopar Meet. Will be held at the Sedgwick County Park in Wichita, Kansas, from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Entry fee at the gate, $25. Hosting club is the Wichita Area Mopar. Search Wichita Area Mopar on Facebook for more information. In the great state of Kentucky, September 13th through the 15th, Holly Mo Party at Beach Bend Raceway in Bowling Green, Kentucky. MoParty.com for more information. I tried getting in touch with these people, but did not hear back from them. Kentucky Dragway on Facebook said they will be having an all Mopar event in 2024. That's all the information I have so far. Let's see. Okay, in the great state of Louisiana, it's the 38th Annual National DeSoto Club Convention. This is the national meet. Will be held in New Orleans, Louisiana. DeSoto.org for more information. Now we go to the great state of Michigan, where on May 5th, 2024, the 26th Annual North Oakland Mopar Muscle Club All Mopar Show and Swap Meet will be held from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Packard Proving Grounds at 49965 Van Dyke Avenue, Shelby Township, Michigan. Hosting club is the North Oakland Mopar Muscle Club. Facebook at North Oakland Mopar Muscle, or their website, NorthOaklandMoparMuscle.com for more information. September 21st. It's the 13th Annual Michigan Mopar Muscle Club All Mopar Car Show and Swap Meet from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Hub Stadium in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Hosting club again will be the Michigan Mopar Muscle Car Club. You can go to MichiganMoparMuscle.com or email show info at MichiganMoparMuscle.com. In the great state of Minnesota, May 31st through June 2nd, 2024, it's the Midwest Mopars in the Park Show and Swap Meet at the Washington County Fairgrounds in Stillwater, Minnesota. The hosting club will be the Midwest Mopars. More information, midwestmopars.middletwin.com. That's MIDDLE twin.com. August 4th through the 9th. The Plymouth Owners Club National Meet and Greet will be held in Brainerd, Minnesota. This year's hosting chapter will be the Tall Pines region. Go to PlymouthOwners.club for more information. In the great state of Mississippi, October 10th, it's Mopars in Da Bay in Bay, St. Louis, Mississippi. Hosting club is Big Easy Mopar Association at bigeasymopar.org, or you can call 504-512-0367 for more information. Now, I have this under Missouri, although it is in Madison, Illinois, because it's part of the St. Louis metropolitan area. May 18th and 19th, 2024, it's a St. Louis Mopar Blast at Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois. It's hosted by Mopar Blast Incorporated, a registered 501c3 nonprofit. In the great state of Nebraska, the second annual H&H Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram All Mopar Show at H&H Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Papillon, Nebraska. Go to their Facebook and Instagram pages for more information. The great state of New Jersey, Califon's Mopar Show to benefit the Califon Veterans Memorial at their Island Park, Califon Island Park, Califon, New Jersey. Califon, it begins with a C, califoncarshow.org for more information. On June 15th in the great state of New Mexico, it's the 27th annual Mopar Muscle Club of New Mexico Mopar Fest to be held at Haynes Park in Rio Rancho, New Mexico from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. nmmoparfest@yahoo.com for more information, or go to the website moparclub.com. The flyer is also on my Instagram account. Search WaltPar Podcast. There's some of these I already have written down that I got to go through the rest of them here. The great state of New York on June 9th, 14th Annual Western New York Mopars Mopar All Day All Mopar Gathering and Drag Racing at Lancaster Motorplex in Lancaster, New York. Hosting club will be the Western New York Mopars. Make sure you check this club out at Chrysler's at Carlisle. Flyers on my Instagram account. Search WaltPar Podcast. October 13th, Mopars at the Valley Car Show and Swap Meet at Lebanon Valley Dragway in East Chatham, New York. And that show will be at East Chatham, New York. The hosting club will be the Capital Area Mopars. Make sure you go to dragway.com for more information. In the great state of North Carolina, it is the 38th Annual Piedmont Mopar Fun Run at Farmington Dragway in Mocksville, North Carolina. Hosting club will be the Piedmont Mopar Club. Piedmont Mopar for more information. November 16th will be Fall Mopars at the Rock at Rockingham Dragway in Rockingham, North Carolina. RockinghamDragway.com. Now the state with the most Mopar events, my home state of Ohio, where I live and do the WaltPar Podcast. April, okay, we got to go clear down to May 3rd and 4th. It's the annual Mid-Ohio Mopars All Mopar Swap Meet and Car Corral at the Wayne County Fairgrounds in Worcester, Ohio. Hosting club is Mid-Ohio Mopars, midohiomopars.us for more information. On May 11th, the 9th Annual Thomas Fest at Thomas Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in St. Clairsville, Ohio from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. The Raminator will be there and will start his show at 4 p.m. Dial 740-695-0452 and ask for Robert Thomas, or go to thomasautocenters.com. The flyer is also on my Instagram account. Search WaltPar Podcast. June 8th, the 25th Annual St. Mary's Mopar No Car Cruise-In at St. Mary's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in St. Mary's, Ohio, out in far western Ohio. Registration begins at 9 a.m. The cruise-in begins at 2. Contact Brian Engel at 419-305-6552 for more information. The next day, on Sunday, June 9th, it's the 17th Annual Mopars at Junction Auto Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Chardon, Ohio. For more information to follow, I actually have a flyer. I got to get that. I got it scanned. I have to put that out on all my social media. The flyer will be up on all my accounts, Facebook, Instagram, X, and Threads and it'll all be up there, and I'll have a copy of that show. There's also an all Mopar show on June 22nd at Plaza Inn Restaurant, 491 South Main Street in Mount Victory, Ohio. August 2nd through the 4th, Mopars at 42 at Dragway 42 in West Salem, Ohio, dragway42.com for more information. Plus, our 33rd annual Mid-Ohio Mopar Show will be the car show portion of Mopars at 42 at Dragway 42. You can go to our Facebook page for more information. Go to dragway42.com for more information as well. This is a judged show. We do the judging, and we, like I said, we at Mid-Ohio Mopars take care of the car show portion like we've had at other venues. This year it's part of Mopars 42. It will be our 33rd annual show, and it will be part of Mopars at 42. August 9th through the 11th, the 43rd Annual Nationals at National Trail Raceway in Kirkersville, Ohio, east of Columbus, right on US 40. Again, I've made several attempts to call them, and they have not called me back to let me know when the website is coming up. I have not checked it in the past few days, but you might be lucky. Moparnats.org. September 15th, 2024, the annual Classic Chrysler Car Club of Toledo Car Show will be held at York Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on the Central Avenue Strip in Toledo, Ohio. More information to follow. And finally, in Ohio, on September 19th through the 22nd, the second annual Word of Mopar at Summit Motorsports Park Drag Strip in Norwalk, Ohio. It is coming up. The great state of Oklahoma, the fourth annual Southern Plains Mopar Fest, hosted by the city and the Historical Society of Bristow, Oklahoma. In Bristow, Oklahoma, southernplainsmoparfest.com for more information. Ontario, Canada, August 17th through the 18th, Mopar Fest, Canada's largest all-Mopar car show, will be held from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. each day on the 17th and 18th of August at 251 Jacob Street, New Hamburg, Ontario. Moparfest.com for more information. August 6th through the 11th, it's the Walter P. Chrysler Club National Meet. Will be held in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. ChryslerClub.org for more information. August 13th through the 16th, it's the 59th Annual Airflow Club National Meet. Will be held at 4 Points Sheridan by Marriott in London, Ontario. Airflowclub.com. That's airflowclub.com. Got to say it straight. August 24th, the second annual Motor City Mopar Show at Motor City Chrysler in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Hosting club is the Windsor Area Mopar Muscle Club. More details on the Windsor on the WAAMM Facebook page under events. The great state of Oregon, August 4th, it's the 39th annual Woodburn Drag Strip Mopar Nationals at Woodburn Drag Strip in Woodburn, Oregon. Go to woodburndragstrip.com for more information, or you can call 541-746-4620. August 10th and 8th through the 10th, it's the Walter P. Chrysler Pacific Northwest Regional Meet. Will also be held in Woodburn, Oregon. For more information, go to d.duthie@comcast.net. That's d.duthie@comcast.net. The great state of Pennsylvania, June 2nd, 2024, will be the 37th Annual Lake Erie Tri-State Mopar Club All Mopar Car Show and Swap Meet. Will be held from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Albion County Fairgrounds in Albion, Pennsylvania. Hosting club this time will be the Lake Erie Tri-State Mopar Club. That's LETS Mopar Club on Facebook, or Let's Mopar Club at yahoo.com. The flyer is on my Instagram account. Search WaltPar Podcast. June 23rd, it's the annual All Mopar Show, hosted by Lansdale Auto Group and Miss Mopar, from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Lansdale Auto Group in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania. Registration opens up at 9 a.m. allmoparshow.com for more information. Okay, let's get back to the informations here. The big one, July 12th through the 14th. It's the Chrysler Carlisle Nationals at Carlisle Fairgrounds in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. CarlisleEvents.com. That's CarlisLE events.com for more information. South Carolina, the great state of South Carolina, October 16th through the 19th. Mopar Fever at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is the show that has been taken over. You know, Mopars at the Beach moved to Daytona Beach area, Florida. This is the show. They're still having an event in October up at Myrtle Beach, and Michael Stark and others have taken this on. It's now called Mopar Fever. They do have several events lined up so far during that weekend. 8FO, the letter also, 8FO Mopars.org or their Facebook page for more information. Michael Stark's doing his best to keep this going in Myrtle Beach from where they left off at Mopars at the Beach. So hope you enjoy it and hope you support it. South Dakota, great state of South Dakota, August 24th. Mopar Rama 2024 is back at Billion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The hosting club is the Sioux Empire Mopars. The great state of Tennessee, September 28th. The 35th Annual Music City Mopar Club Show at the Wilson County Fairgrounds, Lebanon, Tennessee. Hosting club is Music City Mopar Club, 615-972-1056. For more information, or you can go to musiccitymoparclub.com. In the great state, that's already passed, so we got to go all the way down to Virginia here on August 31st. It's Mopars in the Valley, powered by Berglund Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Salem Civic Center. $20 for pre-registration, $30 a day of the show. Rain date is September 1st. Hosted by David Simmons and the Roanoke Valley Mopar Club. Search Roanoke Valley Mopar Club on Facebook for more information. The great state of Washington, July 28th. It's the 19th Annual Mopar Magic All Mopar Car Show and Shine at Peninsula High School in Gig Harbor, Washington. AllAroundMopars.com for more information. And finally on the states, in the great state of Wisconsin. Oh, no, that one's already passed. That was this last Sunday. So that is all done for the events, although we still need to bring you up to date on the Modern Street Hemi Shootout Series. The next event will be June 22nd, 2024 at Cecil County Dragway at Rising Sun, Maryland. And the two other events will be, the fourth stop will be August 16th and 17th, part of the Woodward Dream Cruise weekend in Detroit, Michigan. And October 18th and 19th, the fifth and final stop at Maryland International Raceway at Mechanicsville, Maryland. HemiRace.com for more information. And that's it for the event lineup. Now let's get you back here to the show here. Again, I have some of these flyers up, some of these I don't. But please call to make sure the event is still going on. I'm doing this based on what I have. Make sure your event is still going on, calling the people involved before you head out and find out there is none. That was terrible what was going on with what went on during COVID. We even went out, when COVID hit our Mid-Ohio Mopar show, we told the people on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever we could, the show has been canceled due to COVID. But there's still people that came. He goes, well, what did you tell us? I go, we did. Why don't you look? So please always make sure that you always go out and you make sure the event's still going on when you go. So I don't want you to go and find out nothing's going on unless you just love cruising in your car anyways. Well, that's it for the show. Thank you so much for joining me here on the WaltPar Podcast. Thanks to Ron Glon and Jonathan Ramsey of Autoblog, Robert S. Miller of Mopar Insiders, Patrick Rawl and David Zatz of Stel Power Automotive News and Autoline, and Reuters for their contributions with episode number 9 of the WaltPar Podcast. I don't have any numbers down this time. I'm doing this really off the wall, but I want to thank all the people who follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and also the people who support me with all the other episodes on YouTube, Rumble, and all the other podcast platforms that carry the WaltPar Podcast. I thank them all so much, and thank you so much for listening. Now, I'd appreciate it very much that when you listen to the WaltPar Podcast, you give me a 5-star rating wherever you can. And make sure you give us a positive rating and comments as well. And if you can, just give me a top rating. Any questions or comments or concerns, you can email me at waltparpodcast@aol.com. You can snail mail me at P.O. Box 455, Apple Creek, Ohio 44606. And again, don't forget to check out the other Mopar-related podcasts, the Dodge Pod with Robert, the T-N-T podcast with Tara Grays and Tina August, and what is billed as the best Mopar podcast on planet Earth, Talking Mopars with the Mopar hunter himself, Chris Albrecht. Now, before I go, whenever you go to a car show or a cruise in, find a Mopar that is totally different than yours and say hello to them. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you join me here next time for the next episode of the WaltPar Podcast. I will be doing another Car Club Spotlight. This time it will be with the Ohio Mopar Group. You'll love this interview because if this should inspire you, if some of your friends and you want to start a car club, this was one way to do it. They planned it very well. I did this episode, I think it was back in January or February when I recorded this conversation with Doug, Mike, and Ron. So please give it a listen. It will be with the Ohio Mopar Group, the founding members, and I know you'll enjoy it. So thank you again so much for listening. And as Mike Bonadonna of the Citrus County, Florida, USA Mopar Club says, keep those highways beautiful. Drive your Mopars. Uniting all generations and types of Mopar fans, lovers, and enthusiasts everywhere. This has been the WaltPar Podcast, from Walter P. Chrysler to today's Mopar and beyond. Take care, everyone. The WaltPar Podcast is a production of Auto Catawba, LLC.